My name is Adam Hegedűs, and I am an archaeology enthusiast. I have visited lots of sites and museums in the past few years, and I have taken part in several archaeology programs. As a Christian, I have always had a special interest in archaeological findings related to the Bible. There are so many of these, and I would like to show you as many of them as I can. There is a popular belief in modern world that some or all of the stories in the Bible are mere fabrication, myths or legends. However, there is plentiful archaeological and historic evidence that prove the truth of the Bible. We have all heard of Tutankhamun's golden mask, but who knows about the Pilate stone, the King Seals of Judah, Ketephinom scrolls, the Shiloam and Balaam inscription, Teldan Stili, Misha Stili, the Lachish letters, the Sanhiri prison, or the Black Obelisk. In this series, we are going to show you a few of these remarkable archaeological findings. However, this wonderful journey is also a huge challenge. With the knowledge we will receive, we will no longer be able to say that the Bible and the stories are merely made-up tales or myths. And this fact may have a great consequence on our life and faith. In the first episode of this series, we are going to take a look at the Bible's most mysterious object, the Ark of the Covenant, or, as the Hebrew text refers to it, the Aron HaBarit. The Ark of the Covenant probably disappeared in the siege of Jerusalem in 586 BC when King Nabuchodonosor took over the city and destroyed the temple. Some believe the Ark of the Covenant was secured in a hidden location. Whatever happened, for us, this sacred object is lost and we only know it from the script. In the books of Moses, we can find a precise description of the size and material of the Ark of the Covenant, and how it was probably created, what was its composition, and how it was decorated. We are talking about a brick-shaped wooden chest, the lid of which was made of pure gold and had two golden cherub figures on the top. The cherubim were facing each other, leaning over the top of the chest, covering it with their wings and cheeks. The most important pieces of the content inside the chest were two tablets of stone, on which God itself had engraved its laws and commandments for the people. It's very unusual among the ancient religious cults to place a chest in the focus, instead of idol gods or idol statues. The Ark of the Covenant was deposited in the most sacred part of the Jewish temple, the Holy of Holies behind the curtain. It was hidden from all eyes except for the high priest, but even he was only allowed to see it once a year, on the Day of Atonement, when he entered the Holy of Holies to sprinkle sacrificial animal blood on the golden lid of the Ark of the Covenant. This object remained hidden from everybody else, including the king himself. The Ark of the Covenant is very mysterious and unusual. It was not an object of worship, as it was the case with most statues of gods in ancient religious cults. The figures of the cherubim on the lid of the chest symbolized the throne of God. In the book of Ezekiel and in the book of Revelation, we can read that there are cherubim standing around God's throne. Thus, someone who appeared in the front of the Ark of the Covenant was making an appearance directly in front of God. Practically, the Ark of the Covenant was hidden from everybody. It was not displayed, it was not carried around among the people, as it was customary with the Egyptian statues of gods at certain celebrations and festivals. The Ark of the Covenant vanished. It was missing even from the list of treasures taken to Babylon. No wonder it disappeared mysteriously into the mist. Although the Ark of the Covenant disappeared, we can still view an especially beautiful Egyptian object that closely resembles the Ark of the Covenant. It was created in the same area, using the same materials and technology. Even its size is very close. This can be transported just like the Ark of the Covenant was. Likewise, there is a statue on the top. This object can be found among Tutankhamun's treasures, a gold-plated wooden transportable sanctuary with the statue of Anubis at the top. The resemblance to the Ark of the Covenant is no surprise. The Hebrews lived in Egypt for 400 years. Obviously, some craftsmen learned the skills of the Egyptian goldsmiths and joiners. Thus, when God, through Moses, revealed them what sanctuary they should build and what object they should craft to put in it, among them the Ark of the Covenant, they were ready for the task. Observing this particularly beautiful Egyptian object, the Ark of the Covenant no longer seems so distant, imaginary or strange. We can see another ancient people for whom a chest-shaped, transportable sanctuary was part of their cult, although with a completely different meaning and function. Anubis had a role in the mummifications of the dead and also in judging the heart of the deceased. We can also notice numerous differences between the two objects. The most noticeable is the Anubis statue on the lid of the chest, which is made of wood, just like the lid itself. However, the figures of the two cherubim on the lid of the Ark of the Covenant and the lid itself were made of pure gold. We can also see that the Anubis chest is shaped like a pylon, which is a basic element of Egyptian architecture. Contrary, the Ark of the Covenant, which has a rectangular shape, 111 centimeters long and 64 centimeters wide and tall. We can recognize traces of Egyptian architecture on the lid. A cavetto serves as the closure of the chest, which is common in Egyptian architecture. On side Tutankhamun's chest, we can see rich ornamentation, scripts, jade and chet amulets. Jet pillars symbolize constancy and eternity, while the chet amulet, or the girdle of Isis, had an important role during the funeral ceremony and had a protective function. The Egyptian craftsmen integrated the carrying pole into the base of the chest, while the Ark of the Covenant had poles attached to its side by means of golden rings. Having examined this archaeological counterpart, the Ark of the Covenant becomes real and physical, just as the atonement, performed once a year by the high priest, who entered the Holy of Holies with the blood of the sacrificial animals, stood in front of the Ark of the Covenant and sprinkled it with the blood. The meaning of this ceremony was that God did not punish the people for their sins, but the sacrificial animals who symbolize the people. However, this ceremony gains real meaning and becomes complete with the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ. The blood of the goats cannot erase the sin of the people. However, the blood of the goats foresigned Jesus' death on the cross and his shed blood. Jesus, the Son of God, was the sacrifice. Jesus consciously took upon himself all the sins of the people and suffered God's just verdict, death for them. With the atonement sacrifice of Jesus, God resolved the conflict between the holy God and the sinful man that had prevented sinful man from approaching the holy God. God opened the border, stretching between him and the people.